Hey everyone, it's Jason, and we all hate the feeling of being ripped off or taken advantage of. Well, these are 5 cruise ripoffs that I personally would avoid, especially if you're working on a tight budget. And if you're planning on sailing on the new Icon of the Seas, you might want to pay attention to number 5. So the number 1 cruise ripoff that you want to avoid, and if this happens, it's totally on you, because even the cruise line says, please pre-book any add-ons before your cruise versus booking them on the cruise. Now, add-ons, what I'm talking about is excursions, beverage package, and specialty dining. We found on the low end, you save around 15% versus booking on the ship, and all the way up to 40%. Now, I'm going to give you a couple tips. These were both given to me by cruise ship employees, and we have implemented them, and they do work. So the first thing is, let's say, you know what, it slips your mind and you forget to book specialty dining. You go into the cruise planner, they don't have the date you want. Well, what we were told is go to another day that there's availability and just book that. You have the reduced rate. When you get on the ship, go to that restaurant or wherever they're making reservations and say, can I move it to this date and this time? Now, it might not be totally the time you want, but they may have some availability because they do hold back reservations. If that doesn't work for you and you don't want that original booking time, you can get shipboard credit. You'll cancel it, no penalty to you on the first day, and you can get shipboard credit for that because you've already paid for it. The second thing to do, and I think this is just the best thing, is make sure as soon as you book your cruise, go into your cruise planner right away and book the items that you want. Because you never know, those prices may go up. Now, if the prices ever go down, you can get issued a credit. You cancel it and then rebook. Now, here's a word of caution on that. When you look at these prices, let's say it goes down for Black Friday, and you have a specialty restaurant dining time at, let's say, 6:30. There's thousands of people in these reservations sometimes. I would not take the chance of canceling online and then trying to rebook. There could be a lag there, never know what could happen. Call up and say, hey, I see this price is cheaper. Can I get the difference? We've done this twice, never a problem. Royal Caribbean Celebrity, we both had no issues with. So that is the direction I would go with that. So I hope these 2 things help you. So I just don't want to see you waste money, because if you don't do this, you could spend hundreds of dollars more for things that you can book online before your cruise. So I hope that helps. So the second cruise ripoff that you need to avoid is the spa. And I'm not talking specifically about the spa itself, just 2 aspects of it. So the first thing is you just had your massage. It's an amazing massage, let's say, and you're handed your bill at the end. And we are so conditioned, many of us as Americans, we see a tip line and we want to put them out in it. But just be aware, it says additional tip. So I heard a lady one time, and she handled this masterfully. Because, you got all these eyes on you, and it's like they're looking at you. That's what people have told me, that, hey, I need to give an additional tip because I didn't be embarrassed if I didn't. So this is what she said. She goes, is this total amount have a tip included? And they were like, yes, it does. Could you tell me the percentage of the tip? How much percentage is it? And they're like, oh, it's 20%. And I'll never forget her reaction. She goes, oh my, that's a really nice tip. And she told me later, because I asked her about it, she just wrote a line in there, put a 0, signed it, and I saw her go, thank you so much. It was an amazing massage, and she walked off. Do not allow yourself to be guilted into giving an additional tip. You've spent $300, $400. You could be giving $60 to $80 in a tip. It's not your obligation to give an additional tip. Now, if you want to hand someone an extra $20 or whatever you want to do, obviously that's on you, but there should be no obligation to give an additional tip. The second thing that you want to be aware of is you've had your massage, it's an amazing massage, then expect some high pressure sales. I don't like this about the spas, but just expect it. So the way we try to diffuse this is 3 different ways. The first one is before I check in for my massage, or as I'm checking in, I'll say, hey, I know you guys sell some additional items at the end. I'm not interested in that at all. That's the first aspect. The second one I'll say to my massage therapist, hey, I understand that you guys have some extras that you sell at the end. Please don't ask me about that. I'm not interested. It will 100% usually ask you at the end. And they'll make it as if you don't have this special skin treatment. Your skin's just going to wither away and you're going to die. Seriously, it's high pressure sales. So then at the end, when they do that, I go, thank you so much. As I mentioned before, I'm not interested. And that's all you say. Once again, do not feel guilt over that. I'll never forget, we were walking out. I was going into the gym. A lady was walking out of the spa on one of my recent cruises. And she literally was like looking at her friend going, how did I spend $650 on a massage? It was an hour-and-a-half massage. What did I do? I felt really bad for her. So don't put yourself in this position, and I hope this helps you in the spa. So the third cruise ripoff that you want to avoid is buying bottled water on your cruise. And many times we're talking Disney World pricing here, up to $5 for a 16-ounce bottle of water. What we like to do instead, because we find that the water is really good on cruise ships, most of the times it's a reverse osmosis, and it's probably better than the bottled water that you're buying, is we bring our own Yetis. I found a Yeti that's really versatile. I like that it fits in my backpack. It has a nice handle to it, and I'll make sure to put a link to it in my description. And we just fill it up at the buffet. Now, I know what you're saying, Jason, wait a second. I see those signs that say, don't refill your bottles here. Now, I asked the buffet manager about this one time, and he says what they're trying to really have people avoid doing is filling up the plastic bottles because they've touched that top with their mouth. On a bottle or a Yeti, you're opening that top up that has not been touched by you, and you can refill it there. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, and I know some people aren't, you can just fill it up with one of the cups provided. The water's just as good, and you're going to save a lot of money. So the fourth cruise ripoff that you need to avoid is the onboard shops because you forgot toiletries. Don't pay the absurd prices. $8 for 4 aspirin. $21 for 4 ounces of sunscreen. You're a captive audience. They can charge whatever they want. And the best way to avoid this is have a good packing list. I have a link to my free one in my description. It's been downloaded over 33,000 times in 6 months. I've had a lot of good feedback on it, and you're more than welcome to reach out and let me know what you think of it. My email is in my profile in my description. So before I get to number 5, I would ask that you please like this video as it does help the channel grow. Also consider subscribing as I do daily cruise news shorts and tips and tricks. I also do longer cruise videos on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 8 a.m. Thanks so much. So the 5th cruise ripoff that you're going to want to avoid, and this is especially true if you're on a tight budget, is cruise ship activities. Cruise lines have doubled down on pay to play. I think about Norwegian Cruise Line and I think about the go-karts. Carnival Cruise Line, it's the roller coaster. And on the new Icon of the Seas, if you look at the activities, there's a ton of things that are now pay to play that you never saw on any other Royal Caribbean ship. When you think about it, there is the Crown's Edge, where you walk on the outside of the ship. It started out as $90 retail. No one was going to pay anywhere near that. They have moved it down to $49 retail, but it's only a 90-second experience. Then you have day beds all over in the adult areas. But here's the thing is, they don't really come with anything, and there's no shade. It's not this quiet, tranquil area. And they're $300, $400, $500, depending if you're at sea or you're at port. The one bonus thing to also be aware of is the private islands. They're really doing a good job of selling these private islands or these private areas. All it is a chair and an umbrella. You can find the same thing for free right by a beach somewhere else. You get off on the ship and you can find that. Don't have to be charged anything. Go to the buffet, there's no charge. You don't have to spend $65 per person to get entrance into Hideaway Beach and spend $130. It's just not necessary, especially if you're working on that tight budget. Is there one cruise ripoff that I did not get or I missed? Please let me know in the comments. Also, what do you think about my list? I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for the support. And until I talk to you next week, happy cruising.